Who knew that Pittsburgh has the hottest housing market in the entire country right now? In this video, we'll be breaking down exactly what's going on in Pittsburgh's real estate market, along with answering questions I get on a daily basis, which is now a good time to buy in Pittsburgh? Have prices gone up too much? Did I miss out? Along with what's expected to happen next. And we're getting started right now. So let's start out with a brief overview of the housing market currently. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen it. People all over the internet claiming that the housing market is in a bubble and home prices are going to come crashing down soon. Now, they've been saying this for a while now, and it is far from the truth. Prices are currently rising still, and you haven't seen any downswings in appreciation, and the likelihood that prices are going to come down probably isn't happening anytime soon. Real estate is local, so we'll be talking about Pittsburgh in general here in a few seconds, since I know the majority of you are buying in Pittsburgh. But to give you an overview of what's not local is supply and demand. Now, this is the factor that is driving markets all throughout the world, and it's the simple fact that when there's so many buyers and not enough supply, this is ultimately going to drive prices up. And this is what we've been seeing over the past few years, even before the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened, and we've seen interest rates being lowered to levels we've never seen before, along with people having the option to work from wherever they wanted remotely. So what do you think that did to the market? That created massive buyer demand and ultimately drove prices up to the levels we're still seeing today, and record appreciation ultimately took place. Now, according to this article from Bigger Pockets, it looks like they got their data from Redfin, but this is basically showing that Pittsburgh right now has the hottest housing market in the country. Housing prices increased 22% from February of 2023 to February of 2024, making it the city with the fastest growing housing prices. So yeah, pretty impressive, but I know what you're thinking. Did you miss out on Pittsburgh's market? Have prices risen too much for you to ultimately get in at a fair price? Is Pittsburgh just like the rest of these cities? I could tell you that you are not too late, because if you look right down here, the sales prices for homes in Allegheny County was $275,000 in February, considerably less than the national median price of $412,000. So we are still well below that national average, and actually Pittsburgh was recently rated the cheapest home to buy a house in the country. And that narrative is still there, even though prices are increasing. It is still nothing compared to other major cities out there, and just comparing it to the national average of over $400,000, we're still well under $300,000. So there is still opportunity to get into Pittsburgh if you're looking for affordable housing, but also if you're an investor, this could be a good sign that prices are appreciating and they're affordable, along with if you're moving here from out of state due to the affordability, or just moving here for a job, schools, whatever the situation might be. Don't be concerned with Pittsburgh blowing off the rocket with housing prices, as they're still not that bad compared to other major cities, and overall it's still a very affordable city to get into. And it may be a good thing that things are appreciating and growing as the city continues to grow and reinvent itself. Due to the shortage of inventory in Pittsburgh, we've definitely seen bidding wars become the new normal. Now, it says right here that 26% of homes sold above listing price this year. So as you could see, things are still selling above listing price, but not everything. And we are very active in the market, especially with buyers. Now, during this time 2 years ago, we were seeing over 30 offers on one property. No kidding, like we would go view properties with our clients, and there would be 15 minutes you would get in the house, if that. and sometimes a line of people waiting outside, especially if it was an open house. So it was basically, we're in there, we're running through the property, we're making sure it checks all the boxes, no red flags pop up, and then boom, we're being very strategic with our offer, especially when they had the highest and best deadlines. We had to really pay careful attention to that and really learn how to craft an offer that's competitive, especially when that's against over 30 different people. So people were waiving inspections, people were waiving appraisals, people were going way over asking price, and I could tell you that that definitely has cooled down. Now we're at a point in the market where it's not every property that you're having to compete against other buyers for. Maybe one that's very desirable, move-in ready, and rarely comes available in that neighborhood. That's a situation where you may see other bidders and you may have to be more strategic with your offer price and different terms of that offer. But that's not the normal right now. I would say the normal is homes are sitting a little bit longer. Buyers have more time to think. They have more time to get an inspection, go through kind of that normal buying process, which is very fortunate because I know a lot of buyers were very stressed out during that period. But now it's definitely a buyer-friendly market. It's still a seller's market when you're looking at inventory and numbers, but it's just better for the buyers right now as you're not competing against 30 people, but maybe only a few people. So I would say the majority of buyers we've been seeing in Pittsburgh's market is either going to be number one, first-time home buyers and millennials who have been patiently waiting to get into their first property. Now, what I've seen personally is these millennials are kind of not going for the starter homes anymore. I think they've been on the sidelines for a while where they saved up enough money where they're actually able to kind of get into their not starter home, but first home, a home that they're going to grow in and be there for a while, where they could easily raise a family, and they want it in the school district and area where they've been dreaming of living. So definitely skipping that starter home phase. But the other buyer we've been seeing in our market is, of course, relocation. Now, that's what we specialize in. 90% of our business is all relocation. We're basically a relocation agency, so we really specialize with that one-on-one with relocators, kind of guiding them in the right areas that's going to meet their criteria, and also getting them a lot more accustomed to Pittsburgh, our market, and just living here in general. So those two buyers make up the majority of Pittsburgh's buying market, and you do have a lot of people relocating here for tech. Now, Pittsburgh has been really reinventing itself. And not only do we have Google here, we also have a few tech startups that are driving a ton of money to Pittsburgh's market. So speaking of Google, we already have over 800 Google employees here. And over the past 2 years, Google said that they're investing another $15 million into Pennsylvania, which a large majority of that is going directly into Pittsburgh. So you could see that expanding and a lot more tech workers moving to Pittsburgh and, of course, looking for housing, along with smaller tech companies in the city raising over $3 billion in funding, which is attracting a lot of new investors, up 203% since 2022. So long story short, Pittsburgh has a lot of pent-up buyer demand, and it's only going to increase. So what we're seeing a lot of buyers opt to is new construction. Now, with the shortage of inventory, new construction provides benefits like not having to bid against other buyers, being able to get in a home inspection, being able to go through that normal process, but also inventory is wide available. So we do have a large amount of builders in Pittsburgh's market, and new communities are popping up literally left and right, giving opportunity for people to get into that home and actually be able to buy something that's available. Over the past 2 decades, you've seen the majority of builders starting to build in like Adams Township, Cranberries Township, and Peters Township. And most recently, you've started to see these builders kind of expand out to areas like Zelienople, closer to Washington, Pennsylvania. So really kind of expanding all over our suburbs. But not only that, we've also seen a large majority of new construction communities and builders pop up in our city neighborhoods. So, for example, you have Lawrenceville, the Strip District, Mount Washington, downtown, even getting a lot new attention with the builders and providing more opportunity for people, whether you're looking inner city living or in our suburbs. So we've also seen a lot of newer builders come, like nationwide builders such as D.R. Horton, start coming to Pittsburgh and expanding within that new construction footprint, which is really just opening a lot of opportunity. Us personally, we have a lot of people consider new construction or buy a spec home right off the bat. And it's definitely seemed like an excellent option for people, whether you're relocating or just looking to purchase in Pittsburgh. Don't count out new construction. All of that being said, on just the current conditions of Pittsburgh's market, what do we expect to happen next? Well, home prices are currently right around that 7% mark. Now, the Fed is looking hopeful at cutting those rates, one before the election and the second rate cut in December. So once the rates come down a little bit, that's definitely going to incentivize sellers to put their home on the market. Now, sellers don't want to put their home on the market because a lot of them are sitting at a 3-4% interest rate, an interest rate that's cheaper than 7%. So if they were to sell their property and get into another one, it's going to raise their monthly payment pretty significantly with that difference in interest rates. So if rates start to come down, sellers are more incentivized to sell their home, which will lead us with more supply and ultimately, hopefully, level home prices out. Currently, rates are sitting around 7%. Home prices are still on the high levels, and although the majority of sellers aren't taking advantage of the market, there are still some sellers that are taking advantage. So it's not like inventory is a complete standstill. We do still see new inventory coming on the market and moving pretty fast, especially with all of that buyer demand. So for a real change to happen in the housing market, it's going to have to start with the rate cuts. I don't foresee home prices coming down anytime soon. And I don't really see anything changing until rates start to come down and incentivize some sellers to get some homes on the market and ultimately increase our inventory. And like we said before, although Pittsburgh prices have increased pretty significantly over the past year, it's still an affordable market to purchase. So housing affordability in Pittsburgh isn't awful, which also contributes to our buyer demand and relocation. We've seen a lot of clients from New York City, California, Las Vegas, Washington, D.C., just being overinflated when they were looking to purchase in those cities because you're looking at double to triple the costs. So they've migrated over to Pittsburgh looking for more housing affordability options and kind of found that Pittsburgh really has everything they're looking for as well. You do have those big city amenities. You do have highly rated schools, universities, hospitals, tech. So a lot going for it. So we've definitely seen heavy relocation, and overall, if you're looking at everywhere in the nation, the housing affordability in Pittsburgh is definitely a plus. And I know a lot of people were hoping for the housing prices to come down, especially with that record appreciation. But like I said before, it all does come down to supply and demand. So I would say to you, consult with yourself, consult with an agent, see if it's the right time in your life to purchase a home. And what does that mean exactly? Well, it means, are you comfortable with that monthly mortgage payment, even if you can't refinance for 2 years? Worst case scenario, are you comfortable with it? You may not love it. Of course, home prices are up, interest rates are up. You might not love it, but are you comfortable living with it even if nothing changes? Along with, do you have a longer time horizon? Now, if you have that and you're comfortable with the mortgage payment, then of course it is a good time to buy for you in your life. And if you are thinking about relocating or purchasing here in Pittsburgh, make sure to reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, DM us on social media. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back when making a move to Pittsburgh, and we have these conversations with our clients every single day. We're really here to guide you throughout the entire market, Pittsburgh, and understanding your circumstance and if it's the right time. And if you are one of those buyers that kind of feel discouraged, you keep getting bidded out, and you just feel hopeless on getting a property, I want to say that you could really, if you're taking a step back, I would get your finances in line. I would talk to some lenders, be pre-qualified, and really learn with that lender what you could do to raise that credit score, get some money saved, and be prepared when it's your time to buy. And if you guys want to learn everything else about the Pittsburgh real estate market, what's it like living here, new construction, and everything else, you could start by watching our next videos here. And we'll catch you in the next one.